All right, so we're back. Hopefully you're enjoying that chocolate. And if you are eating those M&Ms, count them. I want you guys to count how many you've eaten. If you're eating chocolate bar, get an idea of how much you're eating. Because when we talk about chocolate, as I mentioned, it's made up of these basic organic molecules. What are we getting when we're eating chocolate? Are we getting carbs and lipids and proteins, nucleic acids? How much of each group? And then what does that chocolate do for us? What do those groups do for us when we eat them? So the first group we want to talk about are the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are absolutely essential. We need carbs. Do not get hooked into these eating ideas, fads, oh, eliminate carbs. No, you want carbohydrates in your diet. You need to understand which type and how much, but you need carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates come in three varieties. Monosaccharides, which are single, simple, basic carbohydrates. Mono means one. So right here, monosaccharide. It's a single carbohydrate. So glucose is a great example. C6H12O6, 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, 6 oxygens. That's a monosaccharide. Fructose is another example. C6H12O6. It's just kind of changed up a little with how the elements are arranged here. But those are monosaccharides. That gives us quick energy. Simple test. Any of you out there who have young kids, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, give them a handful of glucose. Give them something that has glucose and watch their energy pick up. Glucose gives us quick energy. Let me jump to the next slide and then I'm going to come back to this one. Okay, so carbs. The primary function of eating carbohydrates is energy for our body. Monosaccharides give us quick energy. This goes into your cell within 10 to 15 minutes usually. So you eat a bunch of glucose and you feel that big energy rush. But here's the problem. You crash after it runs out. So that's why the Mountain Dew and the Snickers bar before work doesn't do you any favors. Gets you going, and then you run out pretty fast. That's the point of monosaccharides. A complex carbohydrate, a little bit more complex than a monosaccharide, is one called a disaccharide. Now, a disaccharide, di means two. It's literally two monosaccharides stuck together. It's like Legos. Click two Legos together. You have a disaccharide. Very common disaccharides are things like sucrose. This is found in table sugar. And lactose. This is found in milk. Okay, those are two very, very common disaccharides. Are they important? Yes. Disaccharides give us energy for a longer period of time. This isn't an all-day thing. It might be 45 minutes worth of energy versus fast energy and then crash. The reason these are longer energy sources is that our body has to digest the monosaccharide, it has to digest the disaccharide down to the mono. So it literally has to break it apart. It has to snap the bond right here or right here that reduces it down to the monosaccharide. Once it's the monosaccharide level, it can go into your body and get used. As a disaccharide, if we can't break it apart, we can't use it. So if you know anybody who is lactose intolerant, they cannot use lactose because they cannot break it in half and turn it into monosaccharides. The key with carbs is reducing them down to monosaccharide levels so our body can use them. Size is critical here, guys. You have to have it reduced down to the monosaccharide in order for your body to use it. Now, the biggest, huge, gigantic, largest form of carbohydrates are the polysaccharides. Huge carbohydrates. All right, so this needs to be reduced. The reducing process is just what we call digestion. It takes time to break a polysaccharide down. You're starting with this gigantic form of carbohydrate, and your body produces enzymes that will snap the carbohydrate in half and break it down and break it down and break it down. So take a look at the picture here: cellulose, starch, glycogen. Now, we don't have the ability to digest cellulose. There's an enzyme needed that humans don't have. But cows have it, rabbits have it, other animals and organisms can do this, but just not humans. That's why we call it fiber. But instead, take starch. Every one of these little bonds, right there, right there, right there, etc., all these bonds have to be broken during the digestion process to reduce it down to the monosaccharide level. So what we're trying to do with a polysaccharide is break it down all the way to this point so we can use it. Same thing with disaccharides. We want to break them down and digest it to the monosaccharide level. So it takes time to digest polysaccharides. This is why polysaccharides are a great long-term energy source. So if I need energy for all day, I'm going to eat a polysaccharide because that will give me energy for hours and hours. It's not this quick rush like the monosaccharides. It's the long, slow trickle of energy coming into my system. So balancing it out is the key. Now, here's the challenge. How much energy do you need in a day? How many calories? 1 gram of carbohydrates will net roughly 4 calories of energy. So each M&M you eat is about a gram. It's about 4 calories. So let's just make it easy here. Let's say I need 20, I'm just going to go simple math, 2,000 calories per day. Hypothetically, I could eat 500 grams of carbs and achieve my calorie count. Probably wouldn't be very fun. You need to eat other stuff too. But that's the basic math. 1 gram, 4 calories. The problem we often have is we overconsume calories in the American diet. We eat too many calories, and that can lead to long-term problems. It's not carbs are bad for you. They're terrible. No, carbs are good because they give us energy. It's how many carbohydrates we eat, along with the fats and the proteins and everything else, that can lead to some long-term health issues. Or, if you understand it a little bit better, staying healthy long-term. You can have a candy bar. It's not going to hurt you. But a candy bar every day, too many calories every day, all of a sudden, oh, why are my pants not fitting so easily? It's all about balancing it out and understanding what to eat. Okay, so those are the carbs. Now remember, starch, we like starch. We don't make it. Plants produce starch. There's your potato. We use it as a good source of energy when it is digested. Our version of polysaccharides is this stuff called glycogen. This is the animal version. This is what we make and what we can store. That is our big reserve of energy in the liver and the muscle tissue is glycogen. We'll get to fats in a little bit here, but that's how we store a lot of energy. And if your body needs energy, it can go into the liver, pull the glycogen out, chop it up, digest it down to the monosaccharide, and turn it into quick energy, the stuff we call ATP. Cellulose, sorry, no good for us in the form of, or no good as an energy source. We do want cellulose because if we can't digest it, it goes through the system. Cellulose is healthy for digestive roughage, moving stuff through the digestive system. This is why you want a certain amount of fiber in your diet in the form of cellulose. Keeps the digestive system moving and healthy. Those of you who are older or have older parents, ask them if they like cellulose, they like fiber. Fiber is your friend as you get older because of what it does to help maintain digestive health. All right, so those are the carbohydrates. Make sure we have some of those in our diet. Check that label. There's going to be carbs. Which form is it in? Is it in the monosaccharide, the disaccharide, or the polysaccharide level in that candy bar? So, all right, carbohydrates. Definitely we want them. Now let's start talking about the lipids. Lipids. We often call them fats, oils, waxes. All of these guys have this thing in common. The thing all of them have in common is they don't like water. Oh, where'd you go? Don't like water. The fancy word is called hydrophobic, or you'll see the word insoluble. They don't play together with water. They repel water. They push it away. That's just a natural property of lipids. And it's fine. It's not a problem. It's just how lipids work. So when we talk about lipids and we talk about fats, oils, waxes, yes, we want them. We want them in our diet. They are important. At minimum, these things are what we need to form cell membranes in the human body. So if you're going to make new cells, you need lipids to make your cell membranes. We can also store them. Now, this is where we get into health problems. Like, oh, I'm storing too many lipids. That's why I got this going around my waist. They are a long-term storage of energy. A certain amount is important. Shock absorption, insulation, we want a certain level of lipids. Too many lipids, not a good thing. Not healthy for us. The main lipid we want to think about is this group called the triglycerides. Oh. Triglycerides is made up of glycerol, and 3 fatty acids. We'll talk more about it in the next lecture.